Oh, shit. My name is Jeremy Goddamn Masters. Welcome to the Masterclass. I must have slept in. Must have missed my alarm. No worries, guys. I am still here. I'm still ready to talk to you guys about all of the Raws and SmackDowns leading up to WWE Australia Super. Let's... Fuck!
Alright, promise is broken, but I feel like this is a teachable moment for you kids. Never trust alcoholics, especially not the functional ones. They'll betray you even harder in the end. I feel like statistically, most of you should have learned that from your parents by now. Anyway, I'm back, and we opened with a bang when last night Vince McMahon came out to start the show and said that due to ongoing investigations into the government of Saudi Arabia's actions resulting in the alleged death of journalist and critic of the Saudi regime Jamal Khashoggi, the only ethical choice they can make is to cancel WWE Crown Jewel event. Obviously, that didn't happen, and you know it didn't happen. It probably won't. So if they won't take the high road, I will. We're not talking about Crown Jewel anymore. If it still happens, I won't be reviewing it. Big shocker, but I seriously can't imagine sitting through another 5-hour propaganda poster. Braun Strowman opened the show for real with the sharp pace of shenanigans, promoting some fights that aren't going to happen at a show that doesn't exist. They run down the Shield because they've only faced every combination of each other 98 times at this point, so obviously we need to see more of this. But the Shield music hits and Seth and Roman come out, and Seth claims that the Shield is fine. It's fine, guys. The Shield is fine. It's fine. But in stark contrast to that claim, Dean is nowhere to be seen, even though he and Dolph have a match later in the night to qualify for nothing. Similarly, Seth and Drew also have a qualifying match for nothing, which starts right now. Let's just get one thing out of the way, and for this bit I'll put a kibosh on the whole not mentioning Crown Jewel thing. This is straight up fucking insane. We're 2 goddamn weeks from the first ever all-women's pay-per-view, and they still refuse to open the show with a women's segment, instead choosing to structure the entirety of it around preparing for a glorified house show / blowjob for Mohammed bin Salman, which is almost a full week after Evolution. And I could easily make this lesson 1, but this isn't a fucking joke. There is no faster way to prove to your women's division that you don't actually give a shit about them. I love you, WWE, but you gotta be better than this. So Shasta and Drew start their match, and shortly after the bell, Dolph comes back down the ramp to distract Rollins during the match, and after it becomes too much to watch, Dean finally makes his presence known, and he comes out to assist Seth in dealing with Ziggler. Dean's assist allows Seth to win by countout, and I wish I had a lesson for this, but truth be told, we've seen these matches so fucking much that I feel like we've seen every finish possible, and I just can't keep finding reasons to care. Lesson 1's for the company. Variety is the spice of life, but at this point it would basically be a fat line of Charlie straight to the dome. We need to see something new here. After the match, Dean is suddenly regretting the nickname Lunatic Fringe, which is odd because I'm pretty certain he came up with it. He tells the others he's tired of being seen as a wacky best friend right up until he needs to bail out his brothers. They're making it as clear as possible that the cracks are showing in the Shield. Up next, Undertaker and Kane had a pre-recorded promo responding to Shawn Michaels and Triple H reforming DX last week. They were in this boiler room and the camera angles were all weird, and I actually really liked it. It felt like a throwback Taker segment and it worked for me. After that, Nia Jax and Ember Moon teamed up to take on Dana Brooke and Tamina, who's apparently on Raw now, and they announced that all 4 will be taking part in a battle royale at Evolution for a future title shot. During the match, a few more entrants are announced, including Asuka, Carmella, and Tori Wilson. This match was really all about seeing Jax and Snuka in the ring together, and I don't think the crowd quite realized that until Tamina picked up Jax for a massive Samoan drop, which really woke them all up. And I'm gonna be real, it's probably fair that they were sleeping until then. Look, both of these women are super impressive, they're big, they're strong as hell, and they present themselves as absolute monsters really well. But fuck me, they really do benefit from a faster paced opponent to fill the dead air between moves. Ember picked up the win with an Eclipse on Brooke, but afterwards, Tamina goes after Jax with a super kick, and in a moment that honestly kind of shocked me, it looked like Ember turned heel to help Snuka toss Nia out of the ring. But then she tried to do the same to Tamina, but was countered, and while the two struggled for control, Brooke ran over and shoved them both over the top rope. Honestly, I'd love to see her win that battle royale. Brooke needs something to get her back into the main picture. Ronda Rousey came out next to respond to her Evolution opponent Nikki Bella, calling her a do-nothing bitch in TMZ. And considering what we've seen in the last week, specifically regarding wrestlers taking shots at each other in TMZ interviews, this segment had some promise to it. But unfortunately, Ronda came out and began tearing up, asking the Bellas why they attacked her. The Bellas responded by coming out to the ring and saying that they didn't owe her an explanation, and then they gave a really detailed explanation. Basically, it was Ronda just had everything handed to her since she came to WWE, and she didn't deserve a title opportunity, and that they're tired of being overlooked. It was honestly just bullshitting. Ronda responded by running down the Divas era and calling the Bellas stereotypes, and the promo didn't start off strong, but it picked up some steam in the middle when she started making some really good points, like how they're talentless hacks who latched on to successful men to improve their standing and bastardize their movesets. It got pretty intense. Lesson 2, you want to keep an audience invested? Get fucking real. Anyway, some local talents dressed as security come out to escort the Bellas to the ring, and Ronda takes them out like putties. Not even like the OG putties, the shit ones from the second season with the Z on their chest that if you hit it, they'd explode. That's what it looked like. The Bellas take off while she's preoccupied. Backstage, Kurt Angle shows up in vacation mode and has a nondescript interaction with Raw's newest power couple, Gable and Rude. Corbin faces down Kurt afterwards and puts him in a handicap match against the Authors of Pain. Up next, we had Dean versus Dolph, and it had a pretty similar flow to the match that opened the show. There was a bit of back and forth, and then Drew comes out to help Dolph, and Seth comes in to help Dean, but in a twist, Seth misses a super kick intended for Drew and connects it with Dean instead, leading to a win for Dolph off of a zigzag. This sends Dean to the back, but Seth tries to confront him before Roman comes out to mediate, and the three begin yelling over each other. Baron, sensing that there was drama he could insert himself into, came out to tell them that they'd be facing Braun, Dolph, and Drew in the main event. Jesus Christ, guys. Lesson 3. No lesson 3. You don't get one. You deleted it. By sucking. It's gone. You can't bring it back. Finn Balor had another match with Jinder Mahal after that, a short one, mercifully, that Finn won with a coup de grace, but before he could celebrate with Bayley, Bobby Lashley entered a bit prematurely for his match. Since I've been away, Bobby and Lio Rush have turned heel, and Leo's commentary's really gotten stale at this point. I mean, Bobby came out just to pose around Finn, and Lio was just enthralling the audience with tales of Lashley's distinctive odor. So, Bobby had a squash match with hero of the WWE and unfathomable talent haver Tyler Breeze just to make me sad. We had another segment with Trish Stratus and Lita, interrupted by Alexa Bliss and Mickie James, and you know what? I'm figuring out why this episode is killing me. It's last week's episode. It's the same segments, just rehashed. Man, I'm really feeling all 3 of these hours tonight. Following this, we had Angle's match against the Authors of Pain, in which a guy who clearly wasn't Kurt Angle wearing the Conquistador outfit from last week got squashed while Baron watched from the top of the ramp. After getting hit with the last chapter, he was unmasked to reveal it was just some dude, and the real Kurt ambushes Corbin with an Angle slam. After that, Natalya had a match with Ruby Riott with Sasha and Bayley at ringside to even out the odds. It looked like Natty had the match won with the sharpshooter, but Sarah Logan jumped in and caught her with a knee block, getting Ruby disqualified and drawing the ire of Boss and Hug. The segment ends in a brawl with the babyfaces going over. Elias came out to run down Philly and play what was 100% Nothing Else Matters by Metallica. He's interrupted by Apollo Crews, who explains his presence by saying that everyone else has gotten to interrupt Elias, so it was his turn. You know what? I'll buy that lampshade. This is a really good segment for Crews. He gave a creditable promo, it was followed by a short but impressive layout on Elias, and it really felt like a solid reintroduction to the character post-Titus Worldwide, and it was probably the most memorable Elias interruption we've seen in a long time. Lesson 4. Even in the most mundane of situations, you can always find a way to stand out. Here's hoping they build on this momentum. Finally, we had our main event, and honestly, it was hard to call this one. On the one hand, this is the 4th time this month we've seen this exact match. On the other, this was the best of them. So, rifts were showing in both groups. Dean and Seth kept getting in each other's way, while Drew and Braun were aggressively sweating at one another while scowling. As per usual with these matches, there were a lot of finishers kicked out of, and plenty of story beats to keep it interesting. At one point, Dean clocks Drew with the dirty deeds, and while done dirt cheap, they get the job done. Seth, who was zoning Dolph through this exchange, is knocked into Dean to break up his pin on Drew. Oh man, did that kill the buzz. After angrily exchanging words, Seth gets pushy with Dean, who grabs Seth, teasing a dirty deeds, but Seth escapes, only for Dolph to catch Dean for a zigzag, which he kicks out of, but he's clearly spent. It was at this point that the match really could have gone in any direction, and the finish kind of came out of nowhere. Dean gets set up for the zigzag Claymore combo, but Roman intercepts Drew with a Superman punch. Braun attacks Roman, but gets stuck in the corner after a failed shoulder tackle, and as Drew goes for the Claymore on Roman, he ducks out of the way, and Drew connects with Braun, sending him clean out of the ring. Roman responds by spearing the distracted Drew, but seizing his own opportunity, Dolph rolls back in and jumps Roman for a zigzag attempt, which Roman abides, and Dolph rolls off of Roman's shoulders right into the arms of Seth and Dean, who lift him up for a triple power slam. Dean pins Dolph to win the match and solidify his bond with the Shield. With the cracks all mended, the three leave as a team, but back in the ring, Braun takes his anger out on Dolph with a running power slam. If that didn't put an end to the Harriers of hostility, Drew's follow-up, very much intentional Claymore kick on Braun sailed the fuck out of that ship. The show closed with all 3 members standing apart, Drew and Braun staring each other down with smoldering loathing in their eyes. I don't know how, but that match I've already seen 3 times really saved what had been a lackluster show up to this point. Our final lesson for the evening may be the oldest in the book. Save the best for last, kiddos. It's good to be back and doing individual shows in these episodes, but maybe this will free me up to review NXT and 205 week to week, but don't count on it for a while. Teach still has to make a living, and no offense, but even all 13 of you just aren't quite enough to keep the lights on around here. Tomorrow I'll be here to recap SmackDown 1000, but until then, my name is Jeremy Goddamn Masters. This has been the Masterclass. You're welcome. Honestly, I'd love to see her win that Battle Royale. Brooke needs something to get her back into the main picture. I don't know why I said back there. Brooke needs something to get her into the main picture for the first time. Alright, just cut that. That's not going in.